Captain Velthara's crystalline body hummed with worry as she looked at the control panels. The lights on her ship were flashing red. This was not good. Very not good. The Serenity's Grace was the biggest and best ship in the Galactic Peaceful Alliance. It carried 500 of the most important people from 12 different worlds. They were all going to make new friends with a species they had never met before. It was supposed to be easy and safe. But now the engines were broken. The ship was falling through space toward a planet that nobody knew about. Velthara tried to send messages for help, but the communication system was also broken. "Captain, we are going to crash," said Dr. Nimtala. She was from a world where people looked like giant butterflies with rainbow wings. Her voice was very quiet and scared. "The planet below us. It looks wrong." Velthara looked at the planet on her screen. It was mostly blue and green with white swirls moving around it. The white swirls were huge. They covered areas bigger than most cities. "What are those white things moving?" she asked. "I think they are weather patterns," said Ambassador Kreenox. He looked like a big jellyfish that could float in the air. His body was shaking with fear. "But they are too big. Weather like that would destroy our homeworlds." The ship shook harder as it fell toward the strange planet. Velthara tried to steer it to a safe place to land, but everything was breaking. The heat shields were melting. The landing systems were not working. "Everyone hold on," she called to all the passengers. "We are going to crash." The ship hit the ground hard, very hard. It bounced and rolled and finally stopped. Many of the aliens inside were hurt, but most were still alive. Velthara was bleeding blue blood from cuts on her crystal skin, but she could still move. "Is everyone okay?" she called out. Voices answered her from all over the ship. Some people were hurt, but nobody was dead. That was good. But then they looked outside through the windows, and everything became not good again. The world outside was a nightmare. The ground was covered with tall green things that reached up to the sky. Dr. Nimtala said they might be plants, but they were huge, much bigger than any plant should be. They had thick brown bases and green tops that moved in the wind. The wind itself was terrible. It was moving so fast that it made loud noises. It would blow away anyone who tried to go outside. On Velthara's home world, wind that strong would be called a disaster. People would hide in deep caves until it stopped. "Look at the gravity readings," said Kreenox. His jellyfish body was pressed flat against the floor. "This planet has twice the gravity of my world, 3 times more than Dr. Nimtala's world. We can barely move." Velthara tried to stand up, but her legs felt like they had heavy rocks tied to them. Everything weighed too much. Even breathing was hard work. "And the air," said Dr. Nimtala, looking at her instruments. "It has oxygen in it. Lots of oxygen. That gas is poison to most of us. We cannot breathe it." Through the windows, they could see more horrible things. The ground was shaking. Not just a little bit. It was moving up and down like waves in water. On their worlds, ground that moved meant everything would fall down and break. "What kind of planet is this?" whispered Ambassador Kreenox. "Nothing could live here. Nothing should be able to live here." As if to prove him wrong, something moved outside the window. It was big and brown and had 4 legs. It had a long face with big teeth. It was eating the tall green plants like they were normal food. "That creature," said Dr. Nimtala. "It must weigh as much as a small building. But look how it moves. The gravity does not seem to bother it at all." More creatures appeared. Some were smaller but moved very fast. Others were bigger and had long necks. They all seemed perfectly happy in this world of death and danger. The worst part was the water falling from the sky. At first, Velthara thought the ship's water tanks had broken and were leaking, but then she realized the water was coming from above. The sky was dropping water on everything. "Rain," said Dr. Nimtala. "I have read about this. Some planets have water that falls from the sky, but this much water would flood our cities." The rain was not gentle. It hit the ground hard, making loud sounds. It formed streams that moved fast enough to push big rocks around. Any of their people caught in it would be washed away and drowned. "The temperature readings are wrong," said Kreenox. "They keep changing. First it says the air is hot enough to cook food. Then it says the air is cold enough to freeze water solid. How can the temperature change so fast?" Lightning flashed across the sky. It was bright white and made the air shake with loud thunder sounds. On their worlds, lightning was something that happened in laboratories. Here, it happened in nature, wild lightning that could kill anyone it touched. "We have to stay inside the ship," said Velthara. "This world will kill us if we go outside. The gravity will crush us. The oxygen will poison us. The water will drown us. The lightning will burn us." But staying inside was also dangerous. Their ship was broken. The air recycling system was damaged. They had food for maybe 10 days. The communication system could not call for help. "Maybe," said Dr. Nimtala quietly, "maybe no intelligent life could evolve on a world like this. Maybe we are safe from predators because nothing smart enough to hunt us could survive here." That was when their sensors detected something impossible. There were energy signatures moving across the planet's surface. Organized energy signatures. The kind that came from technology. From intelligent life. "That cannot be right," said Kreenox. "Check the sensors again." Dr. Nimtala checked them 3 times. The readings were correct. Somewhere on this death world, there were intelligent creatures. Creatures that had learned to live in conditions that would kill everyone on the ship. "What kind of monsters," whispered Velthara, "could evolve in a place like this?" Outside, the storm grew stronger, and something in the distance howled with a sound that made all the aliens shake with fear. 3 days had passed since the crash. 3 long, terrible days. The aliens inside the Serenity's grace were getting weaker. The air was becoming harder to breathe. Their food supplies were running low. Some of the injured were getting worse. "Captain," Velthara looked at her instruments again. The readings still showed the same impossible thing. There were intelligent life forms moving around on this death world. They seemed to be coming closer to the crashed ship. "They are definitely heading toward us," said Dr. Nimtala. Her rainbow butterfly wings were folded tight against her body. She was scared. "Whatever these creatures are, they know we are here." Ambassador Kreenox floated near the window, his jellyfish body pressed against the glass. "Look at the storm outside. It is getting worse. The wind is moving fast enough to tear apart buildings. The temperature has dropped so low that water is turning into solid ice crystals. Nothing should be able to move in that." But the sensors showed that something was moving, not just moving quickly and with purpose. The energy signatures were getting stronger. Whatever was out there was using advanced technology. "Maybe they are like us," said Velthara hopefully. "Maybe they crashed here too. Maybe they have been trapped on this world and learned to survive." Dr. Nimtala looked at her readings again. "No, Captain. These readings show they are not wearing environmental suits. They are not in vehicles. They are moving through this storm with no protection at all. That was impossible. The storm outside would kill any known species in seconds. The wind would blow them away. The cold would freeze their blood. The lack of proper atmosphere would poison them. "There!" shouted Kreenox. "I can see them!" Through the blowing snow and ice, shapes were moving. They were hard to see at first, but they were definitely there. They looked small compared to the huge trees and rocks around them, but they were moving steadily forward. As they got closer, the aliens could see them better. They had 2 arms and 2 legs, like some species in the galaxy. But they were walking upright in the crushing gravity. They were breathing the poisonous air. They were not slowing down even as ice crystals hit them. "What are they wearing?" asked Dr. Nimtala. "Their clothing looks very thin. How can thin cloth protect them from this weather?" The creatures were indeed wearing what looked like simple coverings. Not the thick environmental suits that aliens would need, not powered armor. Just basic clothing that would not protect anyone from anything dangerous. The lead creature raised one arm and pointed at the ship. It said something to the others, but the aliens could not hear it through the storm. Then all the creatures started moving faster toward the crashed ship. "They are coming to attack us," whispered Kreenox. "They must be the apex predators of this world. They hunt in groups." But something strange happened. One of the creatures knelt down in the snow and opened a bag. It took out a small device and held it up. The device made flashing lights. "That is a communication signal," said Dr. Nimtala, surprised. "They are trying to talk to us." Captain Velthara was confused. Predators did not try to communicate with their prey. They just attacked and ate them. But these creatures were definitely trying to send a message. She pressed the button to respond with their own communication signal. The device outside flashed in a different pattern. Then one of the creatures spoke into another device. The voice came through their ship's communication system. It was speaking in a language they did not know, but the ship's computer tried to translate it. "Hello, inside, metal, safe, need, help." The translation was not perfect, but the meaning was clear. These creatures were asking if the aliens were safe and if they needed help. "They want to help us," said Kreenox. "But we are strangers. We crashed on their world. Why would they help us?" The lead creature stepped closer to the ship. Through the window, the aliens could see its face, clearly for the first time. It had 2 eyes, a nose and a mouth, arranged in a way that looked almost friendly. It was not showing its teeth in an aggressive way. It pointed to itself and said something. The computer translated, "Jiho, Park Jiho." "I think that is its name," said Dr. Nimtala. "It is telling us its name." Captain Velthara pressed the communication button again. She spoke slowly, hoping the creature's computer could translate. "I am Captain Velthara. We crashed. Many hurt. Need help." The creature, called Jiho, nodded and turned to the others. He spoke quickly, and they all started moving around the ship. But they were not trying to break in. They were looking at the damage and discussing something. One of them, a smaller one, came to another window. This one had longer hair and carried a bag with medical symbols on it. She pointed to the symbols and then to herself. "Dr. Hieri. Help. Hurt ones. A doctor." These creatures had doctors. They had medicine. They wanted to help the injured aliens. Another creature came to a different window. He was holding a device that looked like a scanner. He pointed it at the ship and then showed the readings to Jiho. "Minho. Find air problem. Fix, maybe." They were scanning the ship to find out what was wrong with the life support systems. They were trying to help fix the air recycling. The fourth creature was a female who moved very quietly, even in the storm. She was looking at the ground around the ship and then at the sky. She seemed to be checking for dangers. Nari, watch. Safe. She was protecting them. Even though the aliens were strangers from another world, this creature called Nari was making sure they were safe from whatever predators lived on this planet. "I do not understand," said Ambassador Kreenox. "These creatures live on a death world. They should be savage and violent. They should be fighting each other for resources. Why are they helping us?" Dr. Nimtala was watching the creatures work around their ship. "Look how they move, Kreenox. Look how easily they walk in this gravity. Look how they breathe this poisonous air. Look how the cold and wind do not bother them." It was true. The creatures moved like the terrible conditions were normal. They worked together smoothly, like a team that had done this many times before. They did not seem afraid of the storm or the dangerous planet. "They are not just surviving on this world," said Captain Velthara slowly. "They are comfortable here. This is their home." Outside, Jiho was setting up some kind of device near the ship's damaged airlock. Dr. Hieri was preparing medical supplies. Minho was connecting cables to the ship's power systems. Nari was watching the forest around them. "They evolved here," whispered Dr. Nimtala. "These creatures evolved on this death world. They became strong enough to live here, smart enough to build technology, and somehow they stayed kind enough to help strangers." The realization hit all the aliens. At the same time, these were not monsters. These were not savage predators. These were intelligent, civilized beings who happened to be tough enough to live in conditions that would kill anyone else in the galaxy. And they were trying to save the lives of creatures they had never seen before. Outside, Jiho's voice came, through the communicator again. "We help you. Home, safe place, warm, food, no worry." Captain Velthara looked at her crew. They were all thinking the same thing. What kind of people lived on a world that could kill gods and still found? Time to help lost travelers? The humans had been working for 6 hours. 6 hours in the freezing storm, breathing poisonous air, lifting heavy equipment that should have crushed them. But they never stopped smiling and trying to help. Captain Velthara watched through the window as Dr. Hieri connected a tube to their ship's airlock. The human doctor had somehow built a tunnel that would let the aliens move from their ship to a shelter without being exposed to the deadly outside air. "The atmospheric mixture is stable," announced Dr. Nimtala, checking her instruments. "They have created a breathing environment that will not kill us. How did they know what we need to survive?" The answer came through the communicator. It was Minho speaking. "We scanned your biology. Simple chemistry. Mixed safe air for you." Simple chemistry. These creatures thought creating a custom atmosphere for alien biology was simple chemistry. Dr. Nimtala had 3 advanced degrees in atmospheric science, and she could not have done what they just did with their basic equipment. "Captain," said Dr. Hieri's voice through the translator, "please move your people slowly. Gravity here strong for you. We help carry." The first group of aliens began moving through the tunnel. Ambassador Kreenox went first, his jellyfish body floating weakly in the heavy gravity. When he reached the shelter, human hands gently helped him settle onto a soft surface. The shelter itself was amazing. The humans had built it in just a few hours using materials from around the crash site. But it was warm, dry, and safe. There were lights powered by some kind of generator. There were comfortable places to rest. There was even what looked like a medical area. "How did you build this so quickly?" asked Dr. Nimtala as Dr. Hieri helped her into the shelter. Dr. Hieri smiled. Emergency shelter. We train for this. Help people in mountains when weather bad. Emergency shelter. For these humans, building a complex life support facility in the middle of a deadly storm was just emergency training, something they practiced for fun. More aliens moved through the tunnel. Some were badly injured from the crash. Dr. Hieri and her medical equipment were waiting for them. She worked quickly and gently using instruments that looked primitive but worked perfectly. Your friend has broken internal structure, she told Captain Velthara, pointing to one of the injured crystal people. On your world. This heals how? It takes months, said Velthara. We must stay very still and let the crystal regrow slowly. Dr. Hieri nodded and mixed something in a small container. This will help speed up crystal growth, reduce pain. She had just invented alien medicine. In a few minutes, using basic supplies, she had created a treatment for a species she had never seen before. As more aliens moved to safety, another human arrived. This one was bigger and carried even more equipment. He introduced himself as Tai Yang, an engineer. Your ship system's damaged, he told Captain Velthara. Can fix some things. Make communicator work, maybe. Within an hour, Tai Yang had the ship's communication system partially working. The aliens could now send distress signals to their own people. The engineer had done in 1 hour what their best technicians said would take weeks. How do you work? So fast? Asked Dr. Nimtala. Taeyang shrugged. Practice. Fix things in bad weather many times. Always problems on mountain rescue. Mountain rescue. These humans regularly went into dangerous places to save people. In conditions that would kill most galactic species, they went looking for people who needed help. The most shocking thing was the food. Dr. Hieri had somehow prepared meals that the aliens could eat safely. She had analyzed their biology and created nutrition that would not poison them. Please try, said Dr. Hieri, offering a bowl to Ambassador Kreenox. Made special for your body type. The food was warm and tasted good. Kreenox had not eaten anything warm since the crash. He had forgotten how good it felt. This is delicious, he said. What is it made from? Local plants. Some minerals. Simple. Cooking. Dr. Hieri had taken plants from this death world, plants that were probably toxic to most life forms, and turned them into safe, nutritious food for alien biology. Simple cooking. As the day went on, more humans arrived. Yunji was a biologist who studied how different life forms worked. She was fascinated by the aliens and asked many polite questions about their home worlds. Your planet has no predators? She asked Dr. Nimtala. No. All life on our world is peaceful. We eat plants and minerals. Nothing hunts anything else. Yunji looked amazed. That sounds wonderful. Very safe. Must be beautiful. Yes, it is safe, said Dr. Nimtala. But tell me about your world. How do you survive with so many dangerous things? Yunji smiled. Oh, Earth is not really dangerous. You just need to know how to live here. The storms bring fresh water. The predators keep the plant eaters from eating all the plants. The gravity makes us strong. We like it here. She liked it here. This human actually enjoyed living on a planet that could kill armies from most civilized worlds. She thought it was nice. The weather will be better tomorrow, said Captain Jiho, checking some kind of device. No storm. You can see our valley then. Very pretty. Pretty? Asked Captain Velthara. You think this world is pretty? Oh, yes, said Jiho. The mountains are beautiful when the snow falls. The forests are green and full of life. The rivers sing when they flow over rocks. Earth is a good home. The aliens looked at each other. These humans thought their death world was beautiful. They lived in conditions that would be used as torture on other planets, and they called it pretty. As night fell, the humans set up lights around the shelter. They took turns standing guard, watching for the dangerous predators that lived on this world. But they did it casually, like it was normal. "Do you not fear the creatures of the night?" asked Ambassador Kree Knox. Nari, who was on guard duty, laughed quietly. "Most animals avoid humans. They know we are dangerous. But we watch anyway. Keep everyone safe. They know we are dangerous. The predators of this death world avoided humans because humans were dangerous. These kind, helpful, smiling people were the apex predators of a planet that could kill gods. Tomorrow," said Dr. Hieri, "we take you to town. Real doctors there. Better food. Warm beds. You rest until your people come for you." A town. These creatures had built towns on this nightmare world. They had civilization and culture and communities. They had real doctors who were apparently even better than Dr. Hieri, who had already performed medical miracles. As the aliens settled down to sleep in their warm, safe shelter, they listened to the sounds outside. The wind was still howling. Rain was still falling. In the distance, something roared with a sound that would have sent armies running in terror. But inside the shelter, human voices were talking quietly and laughing softly. They were telling stories about their families and their work. They were planning how to best help their alien guests tomorrow. Captain Velthara closed her eyes and tried to understand what she had learned today. These humans lived in hell and called it home. They were strong enough to survive anything and gentle enough to help strangers. They were the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy, and they spent their time rescuing people and making them feel welcome. What kind of species, she wondered, evolves kindness in paradise and strength in hell? Outside, something howled again, and a human voice called back to it, sounding completely unafraid. The morning brought new horrors for the aliens to witness. Captain Velthara looked outside and saw that the storm had stopped, but that only made things worse. Now she could see the world clearly. The trees were massive. Each one was bigger than the tallest buildings on most civilized worlds. They reached up so high that their tops disappeared into the clouds. Between them, creatures moved that were larger than vehicles. "Look at the size of that herbivore," whispered Dr. Nimtala, pointing at a four-legged creature eating leaves from the giant trees. "It must weigh as much as a small spacecraft." The creature was indeed huge, but it moved gracefully despite the crushing gravity. It used its long neck to reach leaves that were higher than most buildings. When it walked, the ground shook. "The plant-eaters are that big," said Ambassador Kreenox quietly. "How big are the predators?" They did not have to wait long to find out. Captain Jiho came to check on them in the morning, and he brought news. "Small problem today," he said through the translator. "Pack of wolves near here. We need to move you to safe place." "Wolves?" asked Dr. Nimtala. "What are wolves?" "Predators," explained Jiho. "Hunt in groups. Very smart. But do not worry. We handle it." Before any of the aliens could ask more questions, Jiho spoke into a small device. "So, Omin, this is Jiho. We have, wolf pack near the crash site. Can you come help?" A female voice answered immediately. "On my way, Jiho. Be there in 20 minutes. 20 minutes later, A new human arrived. She was smaller than the others, but moved with complete confidence. She carried equipment that looked like weapons, but also tools for studying animals. I'm Park Sumin, she introduced herself to the aliens. I work with wildlife. I will make wolves go away so you are safe. How many wolves are there? Asked Captain Velthara. Sumin checked a device that seemed to track the creatures. 8 in this pack. Medium-sized pack. Not too dangerous. 8 predators that hunted in coordinated groups, and she called them not too dangerous. The aliens looked at each other with growing fear. Should we hide in the ship? Asked Ambassador Kreenox. No need, said Jiho calmly. Sumin is expert. Also, wolves usually avoid humans. They know better. They know better. The predators of this death world knew to avoid humans. Captain Velthara was beginning to understand something terrible. An hour later, the wolves appeared. The aliens saw them first through the windows, and several screamed in terror. The wolves were enormous. Each one was the size of a small vehicle. They had huge teeth and moved with deadly silence through the forest. They were hunting. Their eyes were fixed on the shelter where the aliens were hiding. They spread out in a perfect formation surrounding the area. These were not just predators. They were intelligent predators with military tactics. 8 wolves confirmed, said Sumin into her radio. They are interested in our guests, moving to intercept. Wait, called Dr. Nimtala. You cannot go out. There! Those creatures will kill you! Sumin looked confused. Kill me? They are just wolves. Watch. She stepped outside the shelter. Captain Jiho, Sergeant Minho, and Corporal Nari followed her. The 4 humans walked directly toward 8 apex predators, and they were not even running. The aliens watched in absolute terror as the humans approached the wolf pack. The wolves saw them coming and stopped moving. They looked at the humans, carefully. Then Captain Jiho did something incredible. He raised his arms above his head and shouted loudly. The other humans spread out and began making noise. They banged metal objects together and stamped their feet. The wolves backed away. The most dangerous predators the aliens had ever seen were retreating from 4 humans making noise. Fire, said Sumin, and she lit a bright flame with a small device. She held it up high so all the wolves could see it. The wolves turned and ran away. 8 creatures that could have destroyed armies just ran away because a human showed them fire. That is it? Asked Ambassador Kreenox in amazement. You scared them away with noise and light? Wolves are smart, explained Sumin as she returned to the shelter. They know humans are dangerous. They do not want to fight us unless they are very hungry or protecting babies. But there were 8 of them, and only 4 of you, said Dr. Nimtala. Yes, said Jiho, but we are humans. The way he said it made the aliens realize something horrifying. To these humans, being outnumbered by apex predators was not a problem. Being human was enough advantage to win. Later that day, another human arrived. She introduced herself as Jiwan, and she said she studied how different species lived and worked together. She was very interested in the aliens and asked many questions about their cultures. On your worlds, she asked, what are the most dangerous predators? We do not have predators, said Dr. Nimtala. Our worlds are peaceful. The most dangerous thing on my planet is maybe a strong wind that could blow someone over. Jiwan looked amazed. No predators at all? How did your species evolve intelligence? We needed intelligence to work together, explained Captain Velthara, to share resources and solve problems. Interesting, said Jiwan. Humans evolved intelligence partly to hunt better. We needed to work together to catch big, dangerous prey. The aliens stared at her. You evolved to be better predators? Oh, yes, said Jaiwan cheerfully. Humans are persistence hunters. We chase prey until it gets too tired to run anymore. We can run farther than almost any animal on Earth. We are very good at hunting. Dr. Nimtala felt sick. You mean you are predators? Well, we eat plants too, said Jiwon. But yes, humans are omnivores. We eat many things. We are also apex predators. We are at the top of the food chain on Earth. The aliens looked at the humans around them with new understanding. These kind, helpful, smiling people were the apex predators of a death world. They were the most dangerous hunters on a planet full of creatures that could destroy civilizations. But, you are so nice, whispered Ambassador Kreenox. You help strangers, you take care of injured people, you build shelters and make food. Of course, said Captain Jiho. Being strong does not mean being cruel. Being able to hunt does not mean we must be mean. Humans learned long ago that working together and helping each other makes us all stronger. You evolved cooperation and kindness, said Ji-won, along with hunting skills and intelligence. Humans who worked together survived better than humans who fought alone. Captain Velthara tried to process this information. Humans were apex predators who had evolved kindness. They were the deadliest hunters in a galaxy full of deadly things, and they used their power to help lost travelers and heal the injured. This is why the wolves ran away, she said slowly. They recognize you as the dominant predators. Exactly, said Sumin. Most animals on Earth know that humans are dangerous. They give us space. We give them space too, unless they threaten people. As the day ended and the humans prepared to move the aliens to their town, Captain Velthara realized the full truth. She and her people had crashed on a death world and been rescued by its apex predators. They had been fed and sheltered, and protected by creatures that could kill anything in the galaxy, and those creatures thought this was normal. They thought helping strangers was just what people did. Tomorrow, said Dr. Hyeri, you meet more humans in town. They will be excited to meet people from other worlds. Everyone will want to help you and make you comfortable. More of them. An entire community of apex predators who would compete to see who could be most helpful to alien visitors. Captain Velthara looked up at the stars and wondered what her people would think when she told them the truth about humanity. The human town was impossible. Captain Velthara stared at it through the window of the vehicle that was carrying them down the mountain. Thousands of humans lived here, in the middle of this death world, and they had built something beautiful. Buildings were made from local materials, stone and metal and wood from the giant trees, but they were arranged in pleasing patterns with gardens and parks between them. There were paths where humans walked safely, even though dangerous predators lived in the nearby forests. Welcome to our town, said Captain Jiho as their vehicle stopped in front of a large building. This is the hospital, best place for your injured people. The hospital was bigger and more advanced than medical facilities on many civilized worlds. Dr. Hyeri led the injured aliens inside, where other human doctors were waiting to help them. We studied your biology from Dr. Hyeri's scans, explained one of the doctors, a man named Dr. Kyung. We have prepared treatment rooms with the right atmosphere and gravity for each species. They had built custom medical facilities for alien patients in just one day. Captain Velthara was beginning to think that nothing was impossible for humans, The healthy aliens were taken to a comfortable building where they could rest and eat. Ambassador Kreenox floated weakly in the reduced gravity room that the humans had prepared for him. "This is incredible," he said. "They have created perfect conditions for each of us. How did they learn so much about our biology so quickly?" The answer came from a human female who introduced herself as Dr. Su-Young. She was a diplomat who specialized in first contact with new species. "We are very excited to meet people from other worlds," she said. "Our scientists have been studying your biology and culture since Captain Jiho first contacted us. We want to make sure you are comfortable here." Dr. Nimtala looked at her instruments, which were monitoring the air in her room. "The atmospheric mixture is perfect. The humidity is exactly right. The temperature is ideal. This is better than some facilities on my home world." "We try to be good hosts," said Dr. Su-Young with a smile. Over the next few days, more humans came to visit the aliens. They brought gifts of food and artwork. They asked polite questions about alien cultures and shared stories about human life. They seemed genuinely happy to have visitors from other worlds. The aliens learned more about human society. The humans had built cities all over their death world. They had art and music and literature. They had families and schools and hospitals. They had created a complete civilization in conditions that should have made civilization impossible. "How many humans live on Earth?" asked Captain Velthara. "About 8 billion, answered Dr. Su-Young. 8 billion apex predators living together, peacefully on a single death world. The number was terrifying and amazing at the same time." "Do you ever fight each other?" asked Ambassador Kreenox. "Sometimes," admitted Dr. Su-Young. "Humans are not perfect. We have disagreements and conflicts, but we have learned that cooperation works better than fighting. We are stronger when we work together." On the 5th day, human spacecraft arrived in orbit. Admiral Jo Kyung-ho contacted the town to announce that he was ready to help rescue the aliens. "We have prepared comfortable ships to take your people home," he said. "We have studied your technology and biology. Our ships can provide perfect environments for each species during the journey." The aliens were amazed again. The humans had built spacecraft that could safely carry alien passengers, even though they had never met aliens before this week. "How did you build these ships so quickly?" asked Dr. Nimtala. "We adapted our existing ships," explained Admiral Jo. "Humans are good at solving problems quickly. We added the right life support systems and environmental controls. As the time came for the aliens to leave Earth, they realized they had to tell their people about what they had discovered. Captain Velthara prepared her report carefully. We must warn the Alliance, she told Dr. Nimtala privately. These humans are the most dangerous species we have ever encountered. They could destroy our entire civilization without even trying hard. But they saved us, said Dr. Nimtala. They were kind and helpful. They are not violent. That makes them even more dangerous, said Captain Velthara. They are apex predators who choose to be kind. They are strong enough to take whatever they want, but they prefer to help others. What happens if we make them angry? What happens if someone threatens them? Dr. Nimtala understood. A species that could be gentle while living in hell would be unstoppable if they decided to fight. The journey home was comfortable. The human ships provided perfect conditions for each alien species. Human crew members were polite and helpful. They seemed genuinely interested in learning about other worlds and cultures. But the aliens could see the true nature of the human ships. They were built to withstand forces that would destroy most galactic vessels. They could operate in conditions that would kill other species. They were not just transport ships. They were proof that humans could travel anywhere and survive anything. When they reached the first Alliance world, Captain Velthera sent her report to the galactic government. The response was immediate and dramatic. Classification: Class X. Deathworlder civilization, read the official response. Humanity represents a new category of sapient species. They combine apex predator biology with advanced intelligence and social cooperation. They inhabit a world that would be classified as uninhabitable by all known standards. They show no fear of conditions that would terrify our greatest warriors. They demonstrate kindness and hospitality while possessing the physical capability to dominate any known civilization. The report continued. Recommended response: immediate diplomatic outreach. Establish friendly relations at all costs. Do not provoke or threaten this species under any circumstances. Their demonstrated capacity for kindness suggests they can be valuable allies. Their demonstrated capacity for survival suggests they would be unstoppable enemies. Within days, the news had spread throughout the galaxy. Humanity became the subject of countless studies and debates. Scientists tried to understand how a species could evolve such impossible combinations of traits. Diplomats worked to establish formal relations with Earth. The humans, meanwhile, continued their normal lives. They went to work and school. They took care of their families. They rescued people who got lost in their mountains. They had no idea that they had fundamentally changed how the galaxy understood the possibilities of life. Captain Jiho received a message from Captain Velthara thanking him for his help. He showed it to his team during their next training exercise. "Nice aliens," he said. "Very polite. Hope they got home safely." "Will we see them again?" asked Dr. Hyeri. "Maybe," said Jiho. "Galaxy is big place, but if more aliens crash here, we help them too. That is what people do." Sergeant Minho looked at the message again. "They said they will tell their government about Earth. Think their people will want to visit?" "Would be interesting," said Corporal Nari. "Learn about other worlds. See how different people live." They went back to their training exercise, practicing how to rescue people from dangerous situations. It was just another normal day on Earth. Far away, in the halls of galactic government, species from across the galaxy were having emergency meetings about the most important discovery in their history. They were rewriting their understanding of what life could become. They were changing their classifications of worlds and species. They were preparing for a universe where Death World apex predators could choose to be kind. And on Earth, humans continued to live their lives, completely unaware that they had become legends. In her final log entry, Captain Velthara wrote, "We thought we understood strength. We thought we knew what kindness meant. We thought we had seen the limits of what life could become. We were wrong about everything. Humans do not just survive the impossible, they make it look easy. They do not just overcome challenges, they help others overcome challenges too. They are not just the strongest species we have ever met. They are also the kindest. The galaxy will never be the same." Below her window, Earth continued its daily rotation, carrying 8 billion apex predators who thought their deadly world was beautiful, and that helping strangers was just what people did.